What's
What's
up?
up, man?
How you
How
doing?
you? I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How's it going?
Not too shabby. Are you able to see me and hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah. I hear that southern accent too.
Is that right? Yeah.
Uh, so introduce yourself and tell us where you are, what you do, and then we'll get this party started.
My name is Perry Shaw. I live in a little town just east of Seattle called Bellevue, Washington, and I am a wood turner.
Okay, that's good enough. How was your morning?
Man, it's been great. I tell you what, I got up early. It's 7 a.m. here, and I got up at about 4:30 and just been out there in the shop doing things, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's pushing along, pushing
It's
along.
Friday. It's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. I found I'm gonna have the next 2 weeks. I'm gonna have a big fire sale. I
Uh-huh.
found a better yard,
Uh-huh.
and it's kind of too good to pass up.
Where's it at?
It's 50 miles away,
Uh-huh.
but it's probably on 6 acres. There's two buildings.
Bro.
There's a creek in the back. There's a swim hole.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's a beautiful property.
I tell you what, you're gonna have to put a tiny house up on that place. You know what I mean?
No, it's so funny, Perry. The
Uh-huh.
space is so nice,
Uh-huh.
right? That I called my competition to come with me. That's how nice it was. Like, dude,
You're right. Uh-huh.
you gotta come and check this out.
Right. Right. You know it's a good place when you're pulling in your competition, right?
It's like, dude, we gotta do this, and it's big enough.
Uh-huh.
It's big enough for us to make it like a destination place.
Yeah, man.
I mean, there's wildflowers growing. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's
I tell you
400
what,
amps electricity.
everything begins with location, right? I mean, if you're in an inspiring place, anything's possible. So yeah,
Exactly.
when you're pulling the trigger.
I want to get some money. So the point is to have this sale, generate some revenue, and then go make the move.
Yeah, man.
But the place is amazing, man. It's amazing. And I've always wanted to rebuild shipping containers.
Yeah.
I got the space.
Now you do.
Yeah. So it's amazing.
Man.
So let's get on with this.
Let's do it. Man, let's do this.
All right. What word or phrase do you overuse?
Man, at work, it's probably "we got this." For my day job, I lead leaders. So leaders of teams that are, I work in healthcare. And, healthcare is a rapidly changing environment. And we're on the forefront of change. We do telehealth and those types of things. So, we're getting thrown all sorts of side angles and, can you get this stood up by next week type of questions. And so I'm constantly saying, hey, man, we got this. Let's just go. Let's go. We got this. So that's probably the one I use most.
All right. What is your least favorite thing to do?
Sit still. Man, I tell you what, our time on this planet is finite, right? And I want to just exhaust every minute of every day. So sitting still is tough.
You're absolutely right. In the big picture, we're not here long.
No, we're not. We're not. Yeah. When we think about that, I mean, what's controllable to us are our actions, right? And how much we can pack into every minute of every day. Man, I tell you what, I'm gonna exhaust today. Today, it always starts with today.
And it's funny. We'll get into this because that's kind of how that's what I see with your social media, with you introducing all of the new people and sharing all of the new people, because that's what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? When I think about like life, it's about relationships and connecting people. Um, I like to think of myself like as glue, right? Pulling people together, kind of creating community. I mean, you're actually doing the same thing with this, and I love that. I dig it.
Yep, yep. What is your most favorite thing to do?
You know, I got a lot of things that are at the top of the list. Uh, you know, family is always first. It's always family first, and I love my family. And um, I like I like watching people succeed. You know, I'm inspired by that. Um, so whether it's at my day job or on Instagram, watching someone create something and they've really stretched themselves, I love that. Absolutely love it. I can get jazzed up and then I'm out in the shop doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they say iron sharp as iron.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Let's get galvanized.
Yep, exactly. What is the one thing your significant other would like to change about you?
Oh man, that's a great question. My wife's name is Rissa. Rissa would.
What's up, Rissa?
That's right. Rissa would probably do a couple things. She would probably ask me not to bring as much sawdust into the house as I do.
Because when you turn, it gets everywhere.
Oh man, it's in my hair. It's down my shirt, and I'll spray. I'll spray off, and then I'll walk into the house, and I'll be like, "Man, I'm standing in a pile of sawdust here." So
Yeah.
that's probably what she would probably ask.
What makes you tick?
Man, I'm driven. What makes me tick are the relationships I build each day and maintain and cultivate and build. Making things happen, right? Learning a ton of things, constantly learning. And you know what? Thinking about legacy, really. I worked in hospice for about 10 years, and I sat at the feet of people who were really at the last part of their life's journey, and constantly they were wondering, what legacy did I leave? And I'm not going to have that. I'm just not going to have that question in my mind. So that's what I'm always pursuing is adding to a legacy. And a legacy doesn't have to be massive, right? It can be on the micro level.
It's your impact on the world.
That's it. Yep. Work and life, you bet. Community.
Yeah, I get caught in that a lot.
Yeah.
Like what is your real purpose?
Right.
Other than serving yourself.
Oh yeah. Well, I tell you, people who are self-serving their entire life, man, they have a rough exit. They really do.
But hold on, Perry. I think all of us are. Now, again, I'm not talking about the most extreme.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, we're a very selfish society.
Well,
That's
so
we care enough about a fellow American, a fellow citizen person, not American person.
So there's a difference, in my opinion. I hear you. There's a difference between self-serving and self-preservation, right? And oftentimes people are really just trying to preserve their current stance on this earth and take care of their family and those types of things. That's okay. You're right. The self-serving people, those are the people that, by all costs, they're looking to take care of me, myself, and I only. Those are the people I can't respect.
What sound makes you happiest?
Birds. I love the sound of birds. I'm actually on my front porch right now, and I put this bird feeder right out front because I like drawing animals into our yard. We've got deer and bunnies, like this whole family of bunnies kind of hopping around. But I like songbirds, and since we moved out to the Pacific Northwest, my man, they're just everywhere. So I like hearing birds.
No, have you got into bird watching, or just listen to them in the peripheral?
You know, it's funny. I'm getting into bird watching. I'm trying to learn, what type of birds are around here. We've got a family of eagles that live in one of the fir trees down the way.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and like quite a few woodpeckers pounding on the house. You know what I mean? But yeah, chickadees, you name it, man, they're here. So yeah, I think I'm definitely going to get into that. I think they're pretty wild creatures, man.
Yeah, and there are a lot of them.
Tons.
What sound bothers you?
Um, I don't know if this fits the question, but the sound of complacency or excuses or something like that. And you get that sound, right? You know what that sounds like when you ask someone a question or hey, what barriers were you confronting? And you hear, ah, and that starts down the path of an excuse or a why that, you know. So I don't know if I can articulate that more cleanly, but
No,
yeah.
that's good. What profession other than your own would you like to try?
Yeah, man, there's so many. Um, you know, I taught at the university for a little while, and so I guess that doesn't qualify. But I would love to do, anything that has to do with science or
Wait a minute.
botany.
You believe in science?
I tell you what, if you don't, man, it's gonna be a rough journey ahead. Yeah, man. So I'd probably be a teacher or a professor, something like that.
All right. What would you like on your tombstone?
Probably something that had to do with like this guy slid, tumbled into the grave, just working his last minute, just trying to make something happen right until the moment he died. He had nothing left.
Right. What is it about your personality that drives your business?
Curiosity. I would say probably curiosity because I think at my primary job, I'm constantly asking the same question I ask myself in wood turning, which is, hey, what would it look like if, right? So constantly seeking and seeking and seeking what happens next. And, when you approach the world with a curious lens or with a question of what would it look like next, or what would it look like if we tried this, you're constantly developing new boundaries. And admittedly, I feel like I'm just starting. In everything I always do, I feel like I'm always a rookie because I'm always asking new questions to get me to. You still there?
You froze a little bit. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Don't.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I'm there. Yeah, don't X out of it because if it needs to, I
You
will.
there?
Because if you do, we can't do that.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, man. Let me take this. How about now?
Yep, that's good.
You can hear me? All right. So what I did is
Yep.
I just went inside. I think I was having a little issue with Wi-Fi.
Okay. All right. We've seemed to resolve that issue.
We got it taken care of, man. There's always a way.
Always a way. What is it about your personality that hinders your business?
Yeah, man. I give things away like crazy. Money
That's
is,
hurt your business.
money. What's that? Yeah, that'll hurt your business. But you know what, man? I'm just constantly, if someone likes something or wants something, I'll be like, hey, man, go ahead and take that with you. And you know that you know that's not going to
That's
pay
why
the
you're the
bills,
mayor.
right? Oh man. So yeah, that's probably what'll limit it for sure.
Absolutely. If you were to travel cross country on a motorcycle, who would you go with?
Oh man, I'd probably have to take multiple trips. The first trip I would take my wife, right? I mean, we would jump on that bike and we would head west or east or wherever. I would also like to take my daughter Bailey. You
How old
know,
is she?
she's 18, turned 18 in May, and she's starting college here soon.
Okay.
And
Now let me tell you, in this scenario, you can only take one. So somebody got to go.
well, I may have to weld two bikes together, right?
What was your favorite concert?
Oh man, I've seen some good ones. I saw U2 way back in the day, Coldplay. I think my favorite was Dave Matthews Band. Man, that was just a good concert all around. And I saw him a couple times. I saw him in California.
You and the other 100,000 people?
Yeah. Me and a billion other people, right?
I mean, in the stadium at the same time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we were all piled in, you know, just piled in on each other.
Are you from Florida?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I was born in Indiana, and we moved to Florida when I was like in fifth grade, and then I wrestled in college up in Chicago.
Okay, hold it. We still got the questions going.
Oh yeah.
Do you know who Two Live Crew is?
Dude, yeah, man. Who doesn't?
When was the last time you cried?
When I left my daughter, when I moved from Florida to Seattle, I was crossing the Florida border, and by the way, I made it from Florida to Seattle in just under 2 days.
Yeah, I was texting you like, you all right? You all right?
Right. But my daughter, I remember crossing the Florida line and just thinking this is for real, and
Right.
you know that was tough. So that was the last time.
And she is still in Florida.
She is, yeah. She lives with her mom, and like I said, she'll be starting school here soon.
So she's coming to school near you.
No, she's staying in Florida. She's a Florida girl, so she's going to stay out there. Yeah.
All right. What impact do you want to leave on the industry?
Man, you know, I want to leave a quiet impact. In my day job, you know, I'm a little bit more front and center, but in the wood turning community, I want to leave one of just connecting others, right? Constantly pushing myself to get better and be able to leave a legacy on the micro level, like with gifts I give away. But more than anything, I want to connect people and build a community, man. That's really what I want to do.
And that's what we need.
That's right.
Do you have any black friends?
You bet I do. Yeah.
Do you often see people of color in your industry? Both
industries? Yeah. So I do. Yeah. In the medical community, yeah. A lot of nurses that I work with, a couple of physicians. In the woodworking community, you know, I'm connected with carvers and, you know, makers in general, but not a lot of wood turners.
Yeah. The carvers, where are they from? Are they American or are they in other countries?
Africa. Yeah, they're African carvers. Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys are pretty dope.
Incredible, man.
Who would you most like to have a conversation with?
Richard Raffin. He was a wood turner And when I, first got started, I'm sure we'll talk about this, but man, his work was really powerful to me on a very simple way. So yeah, I'd like to talk with him.
So the questions are over. Let's start your journey.
Let's get it going. So you want to
Yours, brother?
You want to know where I started, how I started?
Yeah,
Okay.
I like to start from high school and all the things that led to this, but wherever you want to start to get us here.
Yeah. So let's see. It's funny, man, because like the vast majority of your guests on here are professionals, right? Career guys, and I'm not. So you're going to hear both of my story, right?
Yeah.
So in high school, I wrestled, and probably learned leadership in high school, right? Captain of the team and constantly pulling the team together.
Okay, so a wrestler, right? Were you one of these hardcore wrestlers, or did you just wrestle because it was fun and you hung out with the team?
No, man. If I'm doing something, it's everything I got, right? You know what I mean? It's like, I'm in. And if I'm in, man, I'm in. And I was in. So, wrestling is like an individual sport. It's person to person, and you're in there doing your thing. But it's also, that's right. It's also a team sport. So pulling people together on the team to have one focused goal, that was a big part of my early start as a leader. But so in high school, I was always kind of thinking about the creative side of me too, right? My dad and we built our house together. They still live in that house. My dad's a master carpenter. So we built that house together. And
are you all close?
Are we close? Yeah. We, in fact, today's his birthday. Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday, Dad.
You bet. We text each other almost every day. He's part of this story too, though, how I got into wood turning. But so I went away to college, wrestled in college.
Where'd you go?
Small Division III school, North Central College in the western suburbs of Chicago.
Okay.
And eventually made my way back to Florida and graduated from the University of North Florida out there in a degree in history and anthropology. And, some circuitous way, I made it out to California and was restoring old bungalows while I was in grad school out there. And that was really when I started to kind of get down the path of working with wood. Restored a 1920 bungalow, 1913 bungalow, and was building the furniture for the places, like mission style furniture and that type of thing. And was teaching at the university out there in the sociology department when Hurricane Charlie hit Florida. I don't know if you guys remember Hurricane Charlie, but Hurricane Charlie absolutely decimated Southwest Florida, a narrow area of Southwest Florida, and that's where my parents were living at the time. So I was working in hospice during the day, teaching at the university at night, and everything I was doing was all about family, talking about family. But I wasn't around mine. And when that hurricane hit, that really drew me back to Florida. So in 2007, a couple of years afterwards, I moved back there. And trying to pull these two things together. So I was, I've always worked long hours, man, like 50, 60, 70. Right now I work about 70 hours a week. But
and that's just on your day job. That's not turning.
Yeah, man, that's my day job. Turning is my second job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's 70 hours plus.
You bet, and happily. But in about 2017, my dad retired, and he didn't want to retire. My dad's always worked like 15, 16 hours a day. Um, but he had both of his knees replaced. He had his ankle fused, and he had just a ton of work, and he retired. And like I said, at the time I was working about 70 hours a week, and I watched him set in his lazy boy as he was recovering, and he was just dying, man. I mean, he was literally just dying of boredom. And finally, one day I said, Dad, we got to get you out of this chair. You're going to die in this chair. And like I said, he was a master carpenter. So we started to assemble a workshop for him out in his backyard in this tin shed that's hot as the blazes in Florida. And we bought a bunch of stuff for him in garage sales, and one of them was a lathe. I had never seen a lathe before. He had never used a lathe before, but we got it because it was cheap. Old Delta lathe. And right around that time in 2017, the company I was working for was going through a reorganization, and I had laid off about 300 people throughout the course of that year. And I tell you what, that was brutal. That was a brutal experience. And for me, but also for the people that was experiencing it, right? And I was while we were trying to get Dad out of his chair and working with wood again, I was also looking for a well-being activity. You know, sitting in a chair for that many hours a day and doing what I do, that high stress, I needed something.
Both of you did. So what you saw in him, you needed the same thing.
Exactly, man. So one day I showed up at their house, and he was out in the workshop, and I said, Dad, what is that thing over there we got? And he said, oh, that's a lathe. I go, this is January 2018, January 13th, 2018. I said,
2018.
Yeah, that's when I started wood turning, was in 2 years ago, 2.5 years. And I go, what do you do on that thing? And he goes, well, you know, you can make legs, you can make bowls. And I was like, oh, really? He goes, yeah. I go, do you have any wood around here? And he goes, yeah. So, yeah, I didn't know anything. So we got some wood strapped onto this thing and turned it up as fast as it would go, man. And I tell you what, I made this wood out of oak, ingrain oak, if you can believe that. And you know, for those who don't wood turn, ingrain is it's like the toughest part to cut and cut cleanly, which I didn't do either, right? You know, but it was spinning fast, and I remember making a bowl that day and walking away thinking, I like that, I can do that. So that two parts of the story of helping my dad get out of his chair and finding an activity that got me out of my work chair was really crucial. But the underlying story behind that is I was looking for something to transition to, right? If I was the one that ended up getting let go, I wanted to be able to transition to something that I could be passionate about.
And it's got to be in the back of your mind as well. When you find all these people thinking, you know what, my day is going to come.
Oh, sure, right? I mean, because, you know, we're all replaceable, as, you know, as we should be, right? I mean, we're, you know, industry is what it is. So I started wood turning, man, and I started, you know, I think my first year I made like 600 or 700 pieces, and it became my day job. I would start work every day at 5 a.m. Eastern time. I still work East Coast hours, so I start every day at like 3 a.m. Pacific, start out there. But I would, before work, I would turn for 3 hours. I would wake up at 2 a.m., you know, turn on the lathe, and I would just turn and turn and turn and turn. And sometimes it was just doing the same cut over and over and over again until I got it right and then could replicate it. So Anyway, so that got us to 2018. And if I'm not boring you yet, Robert, I'll continue. Am I doing all right?
You're doing great. Keep it
All
going,
right.
brother.
All right. So that first year I turned like 600, 700 pieces, something like that. And the first year was all about volume because, right, I was attending YouTube University, teaching myself how to turn. And so it was all about volume, kind of understanding cuts and angles and trying to get around a curve. And the second year, 2019, was a little bit more about refining and understanding how form is so crucial to a piece, right? Making something visually pleasing. It's not about just like cranking out a bowl. It's about making something exquisite if you can.
Yeah, otherwise it's useless.
Yeah, man. And you can churn out tons of dog bowls, right? Square stuff, things that just have these flat walls and flat bottoms. But to me, I have to look at something that I made at least and feel like you did okay there. I've never turned something that I actually like yet. But that's the end goal, right? The day I make something I feel is exceptional is probably the day that I'll be, careening into the grave. You know what I mean?
And you probably won't give that one away.
maybe not. That'll be the one I do give away, right? I'll find something. I'll be like, man, you'll love this, and then they'll be like, yeah, great. Shut the door and like throw it in the trash can. You know what I mean?
Okay, so through this journey, through this process, you're also learning about wood. How did that work?
Yeah, man.
Because if you hadn't seen the lathe, your knowledge of wood wasn't as versed as well.
Yeah. So really what I knew about was oak. Like I said, I made a bunch of mission style stuff and I would use quarter sawn oak. So I knew about oak. And I knew about wood from like restoring some bungalows, but really that's totally different work, right? And I think what I love about wood turning is that it's not just about, a chunk of wood spinning. It's understanding wood types and how cherry is different than oak and how one piece will warp a little bit differently than another. So it's really science. I mean, and it's math, right? When you think about wood turning, there's proportions to consider. So, I mean, wood turning to me it's a holistic activity that engages not only the creative side of my mind, but really the other side too, right? I mean, just learning constantly. And I imagine everybody is, man. I mean, if you're not, well, then you're probably
what are you doing? Right.
Yeah.
So in Florida, which is a tropical place.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the kind of woods that you had access to, because John told me you sent him some rosewood.
Yeah. So guys that are in like the Miami area, the Fort Lauderdale area, the East Coast of Florida, man, they have access to really beautiful tropical woods, tons of rosewood, you name it. Where I was living in Southwest Florida, there like a really small area. We had oak, we had palm trees, and we had pine. That's what we had. So you can't turn regular palm trees, at least not easily, and pine isn't great. So I had oak, and I was lucky enough to catch up with a tree guy. And every time he got a rosewood log, he would give me a call, and that happened a couple times. And when I got it, man, I tell you what, me and U.S. Postal Service, we got busy because everybody seemed to want some, and I wanted people to have that experience too because it's an exquisite wood. You bet.
Yeah, and it's not something that grows readily in this country.
Yeah, you're right. So I mean, it's an exquisite wood. The difference between the heartwood and the sapwood is stark, right? The heartwood is really dark. The sapwood is like, it's almost like whitish, butterish color. You can make some really pretty stuff if you take advantage of that heartwood sapwood dynamic, which I love to do in my vases and that type of thing.
Right. What about cypress? Did you ever run into any cypress?
Yeah, a little bit. Not a ton of it, but yeah, I did. I turned some cypress. Loved it. Loved the feel of it.
Okay. Now, tell us about the transition from Florida to Seattle.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, my daughter Bailey, she graduated. Um, well, as anybody can in these COVID days, they stopped. Really, I mean, school just
Right.
stopped. And she was going away to college. She had moved in with her mom and was starting that transition. And I've got two boys, Riley, who's age 9, and Tyler, 4. And we've got family out here in Seattle, Bellevue. And we had talked about moving closer to my wife's family for a long time. And with my daughter transitioning and everything else, it just made sense. And we had been talking about, like I said, seriously for about a year. And so through the wood turning work, I needed to get access to better wood, right? I mean, oak is it's a unique wood to work with, and it loves to crack, and it can get cantankerous. And so I was looking for access to different types of wood, and I knew that Seattle area was the place to be. Proximity to Oregon for walnut and big leaf maple out here, and so when we moved out to Seattle, my wife moved out several months before I did. And I was finishing up the house and, getting it ready to sell and everything else. And I was looking forward to coming out here real bad. So when I drove out here, like I said, it took me 2 days. And the reason why I was driving out here to get here was, one, I wanted to get here before Mother's Day for my wife. And then 2, I was just ready to get my life started. And pretty shortly after that, Robert, I went from having like no wood all the time, because I was constantly like scavenging for wood in Florida where I was at, to having I've got like a whole, man, if I showed you, my whole garage is like full of like logs and stuff.
Yeah,
like
we're gonna do a tour. So,
are we? Okay.
So how did you come to that so fast?
The wood?
Yeah. Who'd you go through? How'd you do it? Who'd you talk to?
So, life to me is all about relationships. And, when I was moving out here, several guys that are in this community, well, let me back up a little bit, Robert. Prior to moving out here, I had only met a handful of wood turners. In fact, my first year and a half, I'd only met one wood turner the whole time. Nobody I knew was wood turners or anything like that. And then I went to a symposium and I met John Jordan. And
which one did you go to?
The one in Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Tennessee has an annual symposium. They didn't have one this year, but
Got it.
so I was able to meet quite a few out there. But leading up to this move to Seattle, a lot of the guys.
Big shout out to John. John's the
big
man.
shout out. John is the man, and you know what? There's a lot of men out there. John is at the peak, and I tell you what, when I think about people who make an impact and connect with others, legitimately, he's a true artist, and sometimes you have people who hoard their skills and their knowledge. That's never going to be me. But it's not him either. And I think the people who I'm naturally drawn to are people that will reach out and say, hey, tell me why you left your rim that way on that vase, right? Or, hey, if you adjusted the foot, it would have a better effect. And you know, there's been times when John has reached out and he'll say it much more delicately, right, more artfully. But the long and the short of it is, hey, that was a crummy rib. You know what I mean? Let me kind of tell you something that will help make you better. And you know, I get that all the time from people. They will reach out and ask me questions to help themselves, and you know, if I know anything, I'll share it. But I'm looking for that from others too. And you know, so John has provided that, and several other folks have done the same thing. Mark Sanger from the UK, he's helped a ton with form. The list is endless, and I wouldn't do it justice. But when I was moving out here to Seattle, several guys were like, "Hey, when you get here, look me up, and I will get you set up with wood." And I ended up joining a couple different wood turning clubs, the South Puget Sound Wood Turners. They hooked me up with some crazy maple, some burl, some like it just had crazy figure. My buddy Ramon, he's on the board with that club, and he's just been incredible. And then I just joined the Seattle Wood Turners here recently and got some wood through them. So a lot of it is just connections. People really kind of taking me under their wing and being like, "Hey, you're new here. Here's a stack of wood. You know, do something with it."
Seattle hospitality.
That's what it is, man. Just relationships and clearly, there's a lot of wood out here. A lot of wood. A lot of it. Yeah. So it's kind of strange. I'll be driving down 405 and I'll see these big log trucks, and you know that never happened where I was at in Florida, never. And it'll pass by and I'll be like, man, that's 1,000 bulls right there. You know what I mean?
Easy, right?
Easy, yeah.
I've noticed in the wood turning community, that a lot of people are open about helping each other.
Yeah. Yep. I love that. In fact, that's an arena where I thrive, right? When people are collaborative and, you know, it's not about me, it's about we. And I'm attracted to people like that. You know, they inspire me. I dig that. And that's what I want to give back to, right? I mean, I want people to be like, if I have a question, I want to feel safe to ask Perry. And, you know, if I don't know the answer, we'll figure it out together. Or I have the connections to get them hooked up with someone who can. Yeah. Hey, let's talk to John, or let's talk with, you know, whoever.
What do you find is the biggest difference between your day job and wood turning?
Yeah. So in my day job, I lead leaders. So in my day job, it's finding ways to inspire people to do things they didn't think they could do, right? So whether it's, you know, as an organization to become more efficient and to think differently and produce results that are, you know, really outside of what our promise was. To me, success is it's getting that little bit more. And what's similar to wood turning is it's about finding that next thing, right? Getting better at that next thing. So right now I'm working on feet and rims. And you know, what's really similar is there's always something to tweak in my day job. There's always something to tweak in wood turning. So those things probably, you know, it probably doesn't sound all that interesting, but I'm always looking for that micro difference, right? Big change comes in a series of small steps, a series of small changes. And that's what I'm looking to do in my day job, but also in wood turning. You know, those 600, 700 pieces in my first year, that was purposive, right? Each and every one of them led me to the next one. And the one I did yesterday is going to lead me to the one I'm going to do later today when we hang up.
So are you currently working from home? Or,
yeah.
Okay.
So I've been working for home for the last 10 years. And a lot of people are like, man, oh, that must be great. You work from home, you're able to steal your way out to the shop. No, man. When I'm working, I'm working. So I'll put in my 15 hours, 12, 15-hour day. And then I'll hang out with my kids for a little bit. And then I'll get out into the shop and do that thing. And then it starts every single day over again. So I really compartmentalize the work I do.
That's good. All right. We got 13 minutes. You want to give us a shop tour?
Yeah, man.
And if anyone has any questions, they can shoot them.
Off of, I'm going to go off of Wi-Fi. And
okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Am I still here?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. So I'm going to go out into my, so we're going to go on the commute. We're taking a commute right now, Robert. And we're walking through my backyard. And let me see here.
What time is it?
It's almost 8, I guess. It's 7:48, so must be 10:48 there, right?
Yep. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
So
yeah, Jeff asked, what was the first lady? The first lady was a Delta.
Yep, first lathe. No, that was my dad's first lathe, and my first lathe is the same one I got now. So anyway, this is the shop. So what I'll do, Robert, is I'll sit on that porch up there, and I'll look out towards the big fir trees, and I'll start getting inspired, and I'll look at my shop, and I'll be like, it's time to roll. So anyway, this is my shop, and it starts in the boneyard right here. Well, actually, I'll take you where I cut. So I've got a bunch of cedar. I've got some sycamore burl. That's some crazy stuff. That right there, that wart right there is going to be a beautiful thing. It's just waiting to be made. All right. And then I've got some beech, and then some sweet gum. And that was last week's work.
So what do you do with that?
Right now I just stack it up, but it can be used for bedding, and I'm trying to find people who may need that. Got some maple, tons of maple, little bit of cedar right there, and walnut, and that's a big old maple burl. That's going to be something big. So then, if you guys aren't dizzy yet, it goes from the boneyard to the processing plant. So right here's where I get all the blanks cut up. My neighbors, they'll hang their head out the window. They'll be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm making a new bowl." So then, we just moved in like 2 months ago, so things are kind of stacked up to the side. So then I'll process it here. This right here is a Grizzly Anniversary Series bandsaw, and that thing's a beast. And then right here is really where everything kind of shakes down. I mean, it's a pretty small space. It's 12 foot by 9 foot, I think. But I love a small space, and I'll tell you why. Probably if someone was doing flat work, it would probably be important to have like a lot of space. But for me, I like everything to be right where I'm at. Right.
That space looks great.
Yeah. So it's efficient. Efficiency to me, because I don't have a lot of time. When I have time to turn, it might be 45 minutes or an hour. So I need everything to kind of be clicking. The process has to be tight. My space has to be tight, and I got to be ready to rock. Anyway.
So, we have a question here. New shop is outstanding. What's the favorite difference from the last?
Yeah. Great question. So, what I love about this space is, let me kind of walk you through and then I'll answer that question. So, this right here is, I got that for like, I don't know, 300 on eBay or something like that. But that thing is a workhorse. It sucks up all the dust. This is a jet lathe. It's a 1642. This is my first lathe, and that's turned several thousand pieces on it so far. But you can tell it's been to work. It's only 2 years old, but but it looks like it's 40. And then I got all my gouges there. Mostly I use crown gouges, but also Carter and Son. They're stationed out here in Seattle.
I use Carter as well.
Yeah. Right there, it's just great steel. What I love about this workspace is that storage right there. I've got a bunch of burl and this and that in there. So I like that. I don't know how much time do we got? Enough time to show?
Yeah, we got 7 minutes. Do it.
Oh man, we got too much time. All right. So, that's kind of where I keep all my wood pieces for little boxes and that type of thing. Someone asked, where the lampshade is. I got a lampshade I made right here. That's redwood. We got lampshades. What you talking about? So,
and they asked for finials too. Where your finials at?
Where are my finials?
No, funnels.
Oh, my funnels. Oh man, that's on the wall of shame. I'm not sure where those are, but but that's what I love the most. I love the way that I can tuck things away. I can put bigger pieces of wood down here that I've processed. That's all rosewood down there. Did those yesterday. Those are a bunch of what is that? Beech, maple.
Spalted too. Looks nice.
Yeah. That's gonna be some nice stuff right there. And you know what? This is my sharpening station. It's just a regular white wheel. You know what I'm saying?
So you don't have those fancy wheels?
No, bro. You know what? I can make it happen without it. So that's all on that white wheel. And then while I was waiting for my lathe to arrive, getting out here was a little bit of a journey. Getting all of my stuff out here. So it was delayed like 3 weeks, and finally, like the way I am, I was like, you know what, man, let me get another lathe. So I bought this little lathe and was rocking that for a while until my big one showed up. So
how did you find using a little lathe?
You know what? It's okay. I take really aggressive cuts that are admittedly probably, that's 1.5 horsepower that thing is. I would love to have a 3 because a lot of the cuts I make are like, I ain't afraid to bog one down, that's for sure. And I do that on this little lathe a lot. Like I'll bog it down a little bit just because my cuts are a little bit too aggressive. But other than that, I think it's a fine little machine. So, yeah. So that's the tour right there. Not much going on in there other than the awesomeness I can create.
Yes,
that's right, baby. We got turning to happen, right?
What's next for you? What do you want to be in a year or 2 years from now?
I want to be able to. I want to be able to look back and say, man, I don't even recognize my work from a couple years ago, right? I want to be able to kind of sit down and look at a piece and feel like it's exquisite. So in order to get to that point, I need to get better at identifying how to maximize the refining pieces, like the rims, the feet, and that type of thing. The form, I think just through paying attention to it, I think I'm starting to get form down pretty good. And I've got a pretty good eye for how to set a piece up on the lathe. That's a whole different conversation. But how to use a piece of wood so that you can make sure the burl markings are going to land in the right spot on the wood. That's easy stuff. it's the refining pieces that make something exquisite. That's what I need to work on and get better at over the next couple of years.
Okay. And that's only done through doing it.
Stand at the lathe and get better. You know what I mean?
Putting time in.
Put it in. That's right.
Thank you for coming on.
My man.
What you do bringing the community together is absolutely amazing, and I want to commend you on that.
Thank you, bro.
Keep discovering those guys in the backwoods.
Yeah. Yeah. Doing cool things. Hey, I want to thank you. I don't know. I'm sure everybody has said this to you, but Robert, thanks for what you're doing, man. You know, this odyssey that you're on, that's big time. You know, a lot of us guys, we are in our workshop, right? We're in our 9x12 space, just sweating it out and trying to get better for reasons that only we know. But you're connecting us. You're connecting makers from all over. I respect that. I love that, man. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you. My pleasure, brother. It's, you know, just like with you, you know, there's a lot of people that I admire, and I'm like, you know what? What's up? What do you do?
Yeah, let's do it.
How'd you get there?
Yeah, let's get to know them.
Yep. Because my interest is to know more about the person and less about their work.
Yeah, it's the story that drives the work, right? I mean, oftentimes our story will play out in our artistry, but you got to know their story, and that's crucial. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and some are good, some are great, some are interesting.
Yep.
Some are not so interesting.
That's right.
We all got a story.
It's ours, man. That's right.
Exactly. We all got a story, and that's a part of who we are. And I think pulling people away from the work for a few minutes to chat with them is pretty cool. And, you know, and there's a lot of people who do this stuff, right? Who post, who are not comfortable being on camera.
Oh, that's me right here. You know what I mean? But conversations are important, right? Because,
they are.
Again, it goes back to relationship. You know, a bowl is a bowl is a bowl, right? And a vase is a vase is a vase. But it boils down to relationships on this earth. And the more we have, the stronger they are, the better connected we are. Yeah.
Absolutely. Greg just came on. What's up, Greg? So,
all right, Greg. Well, hey.
Thank you, brother.
My man.
Greatly appreciated. 6 o'clock, we have a young welder on. She's pretty young and she's good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think some of our stuff is taking metal and make it look like wood.
Dude, let's do that.
and she's pretty darn good. So, again, brother, thank you very much. What you do is great. Great work. Great energy, and we appreciate it. The world needs more of that.
Oh, man, let's make this world better. Hey, let's start that today. Right now. Let's start that right now. All right, buddy. You have a great one. All right, man.
Thank you.
Later.
Thank you all for tuning in.